Hello, my foodie friends. It's me, your friendly neighborhood kid witch, Tara, and welcome to Recipes for the Cooking Impaired. Cooking Impaired, because sometimes we could use some inspiration on what to be making for ourselves or others, or I guess you can make it for the whole neighborhood if that's your thing. All right, so today, as you can see, we're back in the world of Skyrim. We are doing a recipe from the Elder Scroll Cookbook. And so I'd like to give a thank you to Chelsea Monroe Cassell, who wrote the Elder Scroll Cookbook, and they're all Skyrim inspired recipes. So today we are going to be doing a delicious bread, but it's not a typical bread. There's potatoes in this. Yeah, weird, right? But it's so good. And it's perfect to just have on the side. You can put some cream cheese on it, avocado, top it however you want. Or as I did in a previous video, I actually had it on the side with the coastal chowder, also from the same cookbook. So now I know what you're asking. How on earth do we make this recipe? Because I don't have the cookbook. Well, I will show you. However, I do recommend picking up the Elder Scroll Cookbook because, well, I haven't videoed every recipe in there. Oh, you have some that you can try on your own. All right, guys, so here's what we're going to need. For the Jirra, and I might be saying it wrong, famous potato bread, 2 cups of prepared mashed potatoes. That means that you've already cooked the potatoes. You've already mashed the potatoes. We are going to get those measured out, 2 cups. And recommend to do a large potato. A russet is probably the most common one that you're going to find. It's a good size. 3 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Don't get the salted kind because the imperial seasoning that's next on this list has enough of the salting flavor mixed in that you're not going to need the salt. Plus, we're adding a pinch at the end anyway. You're also going to need 1 egg and 1 to 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, it's 1 to 2 for a couple of reasons. One, because depending on the type of potato you use will depend on what kind of consistency and amount of flour you're going to need to get it to that wonderful dough-ish consistency. And so I say go 1 to 2. That's what it's suggested in the cookbook. I believe that you might find yourself using closer to 2, but still, all-purpose flour. I wouldn't use the wheat. I wouldn't use coconut. All-purpose for this one. A pinch of salt, and then last, which I know it might sound a bit strange, cornmeal, and this is for dusting. So we're gonna actually use the cornmeal, crunch it up so it's a little finer, and you're gonna put it on the pan before you put the pieces, the squished up, wonderful potato breads on, and you'll see it step by step in the next part of the video. Now, before I show you any further, metric fans, hold on. I'm not going to forget you, but I want to give you guys the recipe for imperial seasoning, just in case you don't have it and you don't have the book. The imperial seasoning recipe is 3 teaspoons of dried marjoram, 3 teaspoons of dried savory. Now, that one I had to look up, was able to pick it up on Amazon. So you might not necessarily be able to find it in the grocery store, depending on where you're hailing from. What region of Skyrim you live in. 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, and these we're going to be mixing together, or rather you'll be mixing together, and you're going to need a pestle and mortar to grind them up. And then last but not least, 1/4 of a teaspoon of white pepper. This part is actually important to make a true imperial seasoning like in the cookbook. Don't substitute it for black pepper. There actually is quite a bit of a difference in the flavoring. So this gets all mixed up and then ground with a pestle and mortar, which pestle and mortar, it's kind of like a bowl, and it's got this wonderful. So a pestle and mortar, like I was showing you with my mime hands, looks like this. So it's like a little bowl. Oftentimes they're marble, and this is the grinding apparatus. You're going to put all of the herbs in here, put it in. Yeah, it's going to sound like that, but a little bit louder because you're going to have herbs inside. This is the old school, how people did it for eons. You could also use like a coffee grinder that you use only for herbs, or for coffee. Just make sure you clean out all the coffee before you add the herbs. But an electric grinder will work also. I'm a big fan of the old school, so pestle and mortar it is. All right, so now that you have all of the ingredients for the imperial seasoning and for the Jirra, which, like I said, I might be saying wrong, famous potato bread. I'm going to turn the posters over so my metric fans do not feel left out. I'm not forgetting you. I love you guys. You ready? Okay. So first, the Jirra. La 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 la. You're done. And the imperial seasoning. Don't run away yet. We're almost there. La 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 la. You're done. All right, guys. I know that was a lot of steps because I showed you the additional seasoning mix, but we're going to go into the kitchen and start our bake. I'm not going to show you how to do the seasoning mix because I already have it made. But again, just measure your seasonings out, use your pestle and mortar, grind that puppy down, and then you're going to, this amount is not the amount you're going to use in our recipe. In our recipe, you're using a half a teaspoon. This is actually going to make more than half a teaspoon, just so you don't get confused. You're not going to mix this and pour the whole thing in. That'll be way too overpowering, so please don't do that. Please don't do that. So foodie friends, thank you. I'm ready to show you how this works. Let's get started, shall we? See you in there. So we have pre-cooked potatoes so that, as you can see, Danielle is mashing instead of using reconstituted, used, and or made mashed potatoes. For our famous potato bread, how on earth do we say this name, Danielle?
I think it's Jirra's.
Jirra's?
Or Jirra. Jirra, or like rolling your R.
Jirra, which I can't roll very well.
It's a Khajiit, and they talk like that.
Okay, so Sajir, roll your R, as famous potato bread, and it requires mashed potatoes already made and prepared. So these were pre-cooked. Now we're mashing them up. And Danielle had commented that this is how barbarians do it. It's clean hands, so that's the important part.
We want 2 cups.
And we are using a liquid measuring container for some ungodly funny reason. Because mashed potatoes are not liquid, but we're going to do it anyway. Highly recommend, my foodie friends, unless you do not possess a measuring apparatus that's not made just for liquids, use that. Or if you're being silly, in our case, then you can do it this way because, yay, things.
I'm ruining your video, huh?
You're not ruining it, but you are definitely adding some extra levity and funny. A little extra haha. So anyhow, this is a way of measuring.
I don't want to put it into 1 cup and then take it out of 1 cup. And put it into 1 cup and take it out of 1 cup. Because this is 2 cups. 2 cups.
2 cups.
So I'm doing it 2 cups.
Yep, we will have 2 cups.
Mashing it with my hands.
And mashing it with her hands.
Oh my
yes,
God.
so this is fun. Also, there is a satisfaction to mashing potatoes with your fingers. Fun times.
Right.
We now have a giant bowl. We are going to do some additional mixing.
Measuring cup.
Yeah, it's not really bad to use the liquid measuring cup. It's just funny. And slightly not quite necessarily the right amount.
It's all the same thing, though.
Well, you'll end up with a tad bit more potato than 2 cups, but not by a ton. So
I'm sure that they will be fine.
It'll be totally fine. They'll be extra soft.
3 tablespoons of melted, unsalted butter.
So, fun, and she's gonna kill me, but the butter exploded all over the ceiling of the microwave. It just went BAM! And we jumped, and we found this deliciousness. Oh dear.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Alright, foodie friends. Melting butter, take 2. Now, very important, which we forgot because we were preoccupied, is that one must keep track of the time that one microwaves liquid things like butter turning into liquid. Because if it gets hot, it explodes.
You know what? Let's just take this 6 seconds. It's
6 seconds. We're going to do the 6 seconds. And if it's not quite melted, which it's not going to be quite melted, we're going to have to do a little longer.
It's pretty close. I just need a fork.
It didn't have to be fully melted?
What? Oh, it does. I'm still going to stir it up because that helps.
That's true. That's true.
See, look. Look at that. It's almost liquefied. Almost. Actually, if I stir it up enough, it might actually be liquefied.
With the warmth of a glass.
Yeah. What do you think? Oh, that's not liquidy enough.
Yeah, we need to liquid it a little bit more longer.
Almost. Okay, so we're going to do kick time 5 seconds. Because last time we did 30 seconds, and that was...
30 seconds was way too much.
I know. Maybe if it was frozen, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, this is good. This is perfect. So about 10 seconds for 3 tablespoons of room temperature butter.
Alright, Miss Danielle. What are we thinking that this recipe is going to taste like?
Food?
Food, she says. I am thinking that this is going to be a delightfully moist and delicious little potato bread.
Is this a pinch? I think it's a pinch.
That is a pinch. Pinch of salt. Add it in.
Oh, come on. There we go.
Alright, we poured...
Half a teaspoon.
We poured on the butter. And now we're going to be adding our imperial seasoning. The seasoning that is a wonderful mix of Elder Scroll recipe seasonings all into one. We're doing half a teaspoon. And these have been nicely ground and mixed together. And they're used, the seasonings that we have the recipes for, like the imperial, for example, is used a lot in Elder Scrolls recipe book. Has got a bunch of wonderful seasonings, like the imperial, for example. And we're going to use them in quite a few recipes that we do with this. So, next is our 1 egg.
1 to 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
We're probably going to use closer to 2 since we have possibly, very most definitely, more than 2 cups of potatoes. So now we're going to add our 1 to 2 cups of flour. Again, we're doing the gluten-free flour.
This is a half cup.
That's a half cup.
1.
So math! Half cup 1. Half cup 2 makes 1 cup. And we're going to go ahead and start the stirring process first. And then kind of see if we need additional...
Honestly, I kind of wish I was using one of my, the thing that needs it in with blades. It's a kneading knife, I think.
Ah, a kneading knife.
I have one.
She need that kneading knife. I'm so funny.
You are so hilarious.
I am. You chose to click on this video. It's your fault. No, I'm just kidding. It's not your fault. I love you, foodie friends. Mwah! You're fabulous. No, it's just how this kitsch witch is, man. Embrace the silly. Gah.
I'm wondering if I should just use my hands.
So, she is wondering if she should use her hands. I am a big fanatic and fan of, you got clean paws, you need to mix, hands made for mixing. Oh, yes, they are. So, yeah, if you feel that maybe your hands would be beneficial, do your hands a favor and get them in that moist, delicious, wonderful mix right there. Yeah, yeah.
It really
she's gonna do it.
I wanted to.
She's just trying to make me feel better. Yeah. Kidding. Alright, so anyway, the important thing is it has to be fully mixed up. You want all of the flour mixed with the potato. Wonderful, squishy, squishy loveliness. Because not only do you need it to be fully squished and fully mixed, you're going to have to hand form your little potatoes. Potato bread. Rounds. Thank you. The word was escaping me. Okay. So, you're going to have to get your paws in there anyway. So, all good. Alright, so we have a decent start, but it's not quite dough mode yet. The water in the background is Danielle. She is preparing to be grabbing more flour to be putting back in here. So we started with a cup and a half. We're going to go ahead and put in one more half cup of the flour just to see if we can kind of get a better mesh, a better dough. Alright. Alright, so to get it more doughy, we're going to add another half a cup of the flour. So, getting that in there. Nice, fresh, clean paws. Doing it old style.
Ah.
You're doing it like the old...
I'm doing it Elder Scrolls style.
Elder Scroll hand mixer. All we need is a noise. There we go.
But there would be no noise with this.
Well, in my world, there's always noise. You're right. You're right. It would be a different noise. It would be more like, ha! Ha! Is that better? That's probably more Skyrim. Okay. Elder Scroll style mixing. And that is looking so much more like a good dough.
It is actually. I'm glad.
Yes.
I was mildly concerned for a second. I was like, is that... Get back in there.
Yes.
If you are trying to make things gluten-free, and you live in a house with people who aren't gluten-free, you're going to need to be careful in your kitchen. Or if you're making it gluten-free for someone who needs it to be gluten-free, be aware of cross-contamination. It's very easy to cross-contaminate, and people don't think about it as a problem if they don't have that problem.
That's a good point. Very good point, Danielle. And now we can mark this as educational.
Oh, yeah?
Yay!
A lot of people will look at it and be like, oh, you can't possibly be that sensitive.
Some people
You
are.
have celiac disease? You are that sensitive. And they're not faking it. Sorry, that was a little sassy.
Well,
I've had people accuse me of faking it. And I'm like, would you like a tour of my body?
well, I mean, there's so many people with different sensitivity levels that may not be actually celiac disease, but they are sensitive to gluten, which is not quite the same thing, but it's a similar thought. But yours is way worse when it's the full-on celiac disease. But, you know, it's not... Again, don't judge people, humans. Please, come on. Foodie friends, don't judge people that say they have celiac disease and the importance of needing...
Look at that.
Gluten-free.
Smack that dough.
Ooh.
We have... Smack that bad boy.
We've got thoughts.
Like
we got thoughts. But this
now,
is going to stay...
It shouldn't have peels in it, but I... apparently didn't think to
take the peels all the way off.
But honestly, you're having potato bread. Like, what's a couple peels? That probably is gonna irate somebody who...
It might. Feel free to tear this up in the comments. It's okay. I get it. You got opinions. It's okay. It's kind of like behinds. We all have one.
Oh, I like that.
You can totally use it. It's not originally my thought. I don't know who came up with it first.
Honestly,
but
humans thought it first.
Okay, so the next part in the instructions said to sprinkle on cornmeal. Now, cornmeal is sometimes hard to find in the form of gluten-free. So we are using gluten-free plain breadcrumbs and squishing them down so that they are more of a cornmeal consistency.
I think that was quite effective, honestly.
Yeah. So, but if you are somebody that is fine with gluten, just, you know,
cornmeal.
Use cornmeal. The instructions will say cornmeal, but gluten-free folks, it is fine to use plain breadcrumbs and squish them down.
Okay.
Alright, so these are supposed to be 6 inches pressed little potato breads. We do not have a clear answer on how thick they're supposed to be. So we aimed for, I don't know if you can tell, about 1/2 inch, roughly, between 1/4 and a 1/2 inch in width. Alright, we're going to get on another pan because we got to make some more. Alright, and before we put them in the oven, don't forget to prick them. So you prick them with a fork. There are some wonderful recipes that involve stabbing your food. This is one of them.
Like the one with the yams, too.
Like the one with the yams. It's very Elder Scroll, stabbing food, killing it with forks. There we go. Now we're going to put it into the oven that has been preheated already at 425. And we're going to cook it for 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, baby. Okay, guys, here are our flatbreads. The shortbread, that is a flatbread relative. So slightly browning on the sides. All good. And ready for devouring. This might actually try with maybe some of the spiced butter. Oh, as an idea. Yeah. Or any other wonderful topping. So leave me a comment if you would like more bread items. Or again, if you'd like any other Elder Scroll recipes. Leave me a comment. All of the above. Like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like if you enjoyed the video. Because yay! Until then, my foodie friends, I miss your faces. Love you much. Bye!